What would be a better storyline from a coaching perspective? Andy Reid winning his 3rd Super Bowl or Kyle Shanahan winning his 1st?
I think definitely Andy Reid. I think you're also throwing in dynasty there because with the Chiefs, they've won a lot, and you can add that into the equation. You can figure out where you want to put Reid as far as the pedestal of coaches are concerned. Shanahan, listen, he's a hell of a coach. I'm a big fan of Shanahan, but it's not a big deal. He's not a national story. Nobody in Walla Walla knows who Kyle Shanahan is on a day-in, day-out basis. Reid's been around for a long period of time, coached the Eagles. He's been in Super Bowls, and he's lost. He's got Mahomes. Everybody likes him, Uncle Andy. He is a big-time coach. I don't put him as high as Stephen A. or Swagu does. We'll do that a little later, that topic. But I think it'll be his 3rd Super Bowl. Shanahan's a nice story, but nobody's going to make a big deal about father-son. Nobody cares. The Chiefs are the bigger story, and Mahomes and Reid are a bigger story than Purdy and Shanahan. So I think Reid is the bigger story if, in fact, he wins.
Well, a couple of things. Number one, you're wrong, but there's nothing new there. That's number one. Number two, Doggy, before I go into my little soliloquy or diatribe or what have you, Doggy, I just want to let you know that the commissioner, Roger Goodell, says good morning. I just want to let you know that. Just throw that out there. He just said that. Anyway, number three. Let me get to the latest one right here, okay? When we sit up here and we think about Kyle Shanahan, okay? Here's the deal. He's the bigger, listen, it's a bigger story, okay? And I guess I'm doing it in reverse. I understand the better, so when you're talking about the better story, Reid winning, I get you on that. I apologize if I'm altering the narrative just a touch. I'm thinking the bigger story is if Shanahan loses rather than the better story being Andy Reid winning. That's what I wanted to say about that. That's my position, just so we're clear. I understand the specific wording of the question. You may be right, Doggy, in terms of the better story, Reid winning, as opposed to Shanahan winning. But what I'm saying is it's a bigger story if Shanahan loses than if Reid wins. You can't go to 3 straight NFC title games, 4 NFC title games in the last 5 years, have 2 Super Bowl appearances, this is a 3rd, walk away with losing. Matt Ryan was your quarterback in Atlanta when you were the offensive coordinator, okay? You had a relatively elite team, even with Jimmy Garoppolo as your quarterback in the Super Bowl, and you had a 10-point lead against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then last year in the NFC Championship game, we throw that aside because no team in NFL history had lost all 4 quarterbacks in the same season and ultimately showed up in the NFC Championship game where they lost their 3rd and 4th quarterback in Purdy and Johnson, if I remember correctly, and you play the last 3 quarters without a quarterback to the point where Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey at one time or another had to literally line up behind center. And the folks at Philadelphia Lincoln Financial Field, you both remember this, was celebrating from the 2nd quarter on because the 49ers literally did not have somebody to throw the football. Literally. You couldn't have anybody throw the football. I think they threw 1 or 2 passes for 2 yards in the last 3 quarters, for crying out loud. That was the dilemma. So now you get here. You got a Brock Purdy who's an upgrade from Garoppolo. He's an upgrade from anybody that you've had in Kyle Shanahan's system since Matt Ryan, okay? And certainly since you've arrived in San Francisco. And you get to the Super Bowl, your 3rd Super Bowl, and you lose again? Now we're talking about all-timers, the Chuck Knox of the world, the Dan Reeves of the world, and others. It's only 4 coaches in history that have gone to that many conference championship games and didn't deliver a Super Bowl title. Shanahan being on that list with Deebo, with Ayuk, with Christian McCaffrey, okay, with Purdy, with that offensive line led by Trent Williams, with that defense with Bosa and the crew. You understand? Warner and those boys, you don't win this game. We're going to look at Shanahan, and we're going to look at a guy that's phenomenal, but can't close. Can't close. That's what we're going to see.
All right, man. Listen, man, you just talked for 20 minutes. Can you answer the damn question, please? What's the bigger story?
I did answer the question.
not the one that. No, you didn't. You created your own question. Can you answer the question that's on the scroll? What's the bigger story? Shanahan?
I apologize. I'm talking to
Since
a
I'm
brother that
huffing
went to
and puffing.
LSU. That's a highly intelligent individual. The man is on NFL Countdown. He's on Get Up. He's on First Take all the time. He's on NFL Live every day. And I know he understands English. I specifically said, Doggy is right about the better story if Shanahan wins compared to Reid wins.
Right.
That's a given.
Okay.
Which NFC head coach do you have the most faith in?
Oh, I know after this playoff performance, this is going to sound crazy. I know after the playoff performance, this is going to sound crazy. But Mike McCarthy, listen, I'm not going to remove the fact that he's been a really good coach over his time in Dallas when it comes to winning football games. And you can determine who they had to play and all of that. It's still hard to on average, win 12 games a season. The playoff performances are how we're judging Mike McCarthy because it's associated and tied to the long drought for the Dallas Cowboys. So I get that. But as far as going into the season, I saw Nick Sirianni's team fall absolutely apart. We don't know what Dan Quinn is going to be in Washington because we don't know what the personnel is. We don't know if they're going to get the quarterback that's going to change what they do there. And as far as the New York Giants, I understand that Brian Daboll did a phenomenal job with Daniel Jones in the year. He did a phenomenal job with Josh Allen when he was in Buffalo. But if anybody gets on TV and tell y'all what they think the New York Giants is going to be, they a damn lie. We have no idea. We don't even know if Daniel Jones is good at playing quarterback. We saw him have one solid year, and that was nothing to write home about. So this is also tied into what you have coming back. He has Dak Prescott coming back. I still believe that Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the NFC East for right now, based on the last season that we watched, even with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is getting a new offensive coordinator in Philly. Philly is getting a new defensive coordinator, and we got to see them kind of pull themselves out of the mud. So right now, I trust Mike McCarthy withstanding the playoff performances.
Yeah, listen, this is a weak thank you. This is a weak division. We don't have a lot of great coaches in this division. I'm not taking McCarthy after I see him in the postseason. Of course, Swagu was correct about Sirianni. The team collapsed. I can't take him. Quinn, I didn't like the hire with Quinn. 28-3 blows the lead. The defense stinks. Forget him. So I'm going to take Brian Daboll. You guys are going to laugh. Don't laugh.
No.
I'm taking Daboll. 2 years ago, Daniel Jones had an excellent year. They won a playoff game. They did a heck of a job. He got the most out of the team. This year, when the team had all sorts of injuries, he had to go with chicken cutlets there for a long period of time. They came down the stretch, and they played good football. They beat Green Bay. They obviously almost beat the Eagles on Christmas Day. They killed Philly late in the year, which made them have to go on the road in the postseason. I think Daboll, listen, it's only 2 years. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that he's freaking, Vince Lombardi. I'm not going crazy. But out of the lot that you give me and the fact that he is not underachieved yet, I look at coaches, do they underachieve or overachieve with the roster that they have? To me, McCarthy's underachieved. Sirianni's underachieved this year, and obviously the whole thing with Quinn, he's 46-39 lifetime, and he blew the Super Bowl. I think Daboll is a heck of a coach. I think he will get the most out of a team he's tough on his coaches, Wink Martindale and everything else, but I think he'll get the most out of his team. I know it's a wacky pick. I'm taking Daboll. I think he's the best coach in the NFC East. How about that?
Well, first of all, I think we need to have some tests performed on Doggy. Clearly, he was hanging out too late last night, and I don't know whether it was gummies or some red wine, whatever the hell it was. But I don't know what the hell he's talking about right now. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's number one. And then to close the argument by saying he's a bit hard on his coordinators. What are you, Doggy or Dear Appy? What the hell is going on here? I don't understand. What do you mean hard on them? They were 6-11. You understand what I'm saying? They lost 3 of their last last 4 games until they went up against the Philadelphia Eagles. The last game of the regular season, they were en route to losing 4 straight, for crying out loud. What the hell are you talking about? Makes no sense whatsoever. Last game didn't really matter to the Philadelphia Eagles because they'd already lost the division title, so they really weren't trying that hard. They were just trying to keep people healthy, and then A.J. Brown got hurt in that game. I don't even know why Sirianni had him in that game, but I'm going to say this to both of you. I'm going to go with Sirianni for this specific question. And let me tell you why. Don't give me McCarthy. Oh, don't give me him. I mean, you talking about the dude that sat up there and pushed Kellen Moore out the door so he could have offensive play calling responsibilities and then show up in the playoffs and not only lose, but wet the bed in such a way where you down 48-16? Are you kidding me? That's the drop back. That's the fall back. And you're going to tell me that that man is the one you trust? When you see what the Dallas Cowboys have done the last 2 years in the playoffs? What the hell is wrong with you, Swagu? So let's go that route. You, doggy, you, of all people, you just sat up there and talk about, I'm not trying to act like he's Lombardi or somebody, but it was only his 2nd season there. I love Brian Dable. I voted for him for Coach of the Year a year before this past season. He was absolutely fantastic his first year in the Giants. But there were people that looked at the Giants the first half of the season and said, what the hell is going on here? Something is wrong. It makes no sense. They look lost. They look discombobulated. They look out of sync. Not only that, doggy, I have videotape of you on First Take right here, talking about how is Dable always complaining every time a player makes a mistake, a Tyrod Taylor, a Daniel Jones, engaging in histrionics on the sidelines. What's the matter with him? Why is he pointing a finger at others? Look at yourself! Look at yourself! That's what you said. That's what you said, and that's how you said it. But lo and behold, here we are after a 6-11 finish, and all of a sudden, you want to crown him as the most trusted coach in the NFC East. Stop that nonsense. Get trusted for all that red wine you were drinking last night.